I'm Danielle. I thought it would be a good idea to share with you the beginning of my Nevus journey. I was born in the early hours on the 25th of November 2001 in Ashford Hospital in South Australia. When I arrived into the world, I was very different. My body had big dark patches and spots. Dad asked the medical staff about the marks on my skin. They didn't know. Mum and Dad didn't get a diagnosis until the following day. They said I had CMN. The information the doctor provided didn't have a lot of detail. Mum and Dad were really worried. Dad searched the internet and found some information on CMN, and the information was not positive. Things like you will get cancer, your life expectancy was shorter, and many other horrible things. This totally freaked out my parents. We met with a plastic surgeon a few days later, and Mum and Dad had to make a heart-wrenching decision. Should I have an operation or wait? I can't imagine how hard the decision was. They decided to go ahead with the operation to remove the nevus from my scalp, neck, back, and a few satellites. The operation didn't go as expected, and I will talk about that another day. The information the medical practitioners provided was vague, and there were many questions and Mum and Dad couldn't get an answer to. They thought I was the only child in Australia with CMN. In 2001, if you had internet, it was slow dial-up. In fact, only 42% of Australian households had the internet, and websites were fairly primitive compared to today, no apps like Facebook. Dad spent days searching the internet, gathering information and trying to find others with CMN. He found a site in America, Nevus Outreach, and Mum sent them an email with so many questions. There was one question that became so pivotal and defining in our journey. Did they know of anyone in Australia? The email came back with, yes, there are a few, and here is their email address. Mum and Dad were excited with the news, and Mum started emailing. My name is Michelle, and Kathy Stewart gave me your email address. I live in Adelaide and have a 9-week-old daughter with a giant nevus on her scalp, neck and back, and lots of satellites. We are wading our way through at the moment, looking for info, advice and hope, and we're hoping to find some people in Australia who would be interested in keeping in touch via email or post. Mum received several responses and started communicating. One of Mum's first contacts was Tracy and Troy Wood, who live in Victoria. Their daughter Meg was also born in 2001 with CMN. The Woods had contacted Nevus Outreach and had been in contact with several other families in Australia. They provided Mum and Dad with so much comfort and positivity in a time when they needed it most. In early 2002, Mum with a few other Aussies on the American Nevus group decided to create their own Aussie Nevus Support group, and during 2002 our family tried to meet as many families as we could. There was many similarities in everyone's story. Everyone felt they were the only one, and the medical profession knew very little and didn't provide the support that was needed. And there was not enough awareness and information on Nevus. Within 12 months, there were 17 members in the Aussie group. During 2002, many friendships formed and more information was getting shared. Tracy and Troy had a similar passion to Mum and Dad. They didn't want another family to experience the pain and isolation that they had experienced. They wanted to make a difference. The priority was to educate medical practitioners about the condition and how important it was for a parent to know that others have walked in their shoes and they are not alone. It was decided the best way was to develop a brochure that would be sent to every children's hospital, plastic surgeon and dermatologist in Australia. It would also be sent to families to help explain the condition to others. The other priority was to get the families in Australia to come together. In January 2003, planning began for the first big bash, and in March we had a draft brochure. Now it's time to reflect on what two families with a strong passion and a will to make a difference achieved in the beginning of their Nevus journey.
We know how to dare, we know how to dream. Tonight is the night, what we wanna be will be. We're gonna make it through. Let's conquer the fears, take every chance, hold back the tears. What we wanna be will be. We're gonna make it through.
Birth defects now faces a bright future thanks to Adelaide doctors. Her condition is so rare, only a few children are born with it each year.
At first glance, Danielle Sibbins appears just like any other healthy 2-year-old. But the scars and spots that cover her tiny body tell of an already traumatic life.
I had been warned that she had a few birthmarks, but nothing had prepared me for what I saw when I walked into the nursery.
Much of Danielle's body was covered in big black hairy marks, a rare birth defect called congenital melanocytic nevus.
I was terrified because I didn't know what it was.
The marks, caused by abnormal cells, put Danielle at risk of developing the cancer melanoma. Her condition is fatal if the cells develop on the brain and spine. At just 9 days, she had one large growth removed from her head and neck.
It was pretty harsh on her, and it was very painful. If you imagine having your skin peeled off, it was very painful.
Now the surgery has healed, but Danielle still has hundreds of smaller growths all over her body.
Now what worries us about these is that they have got a malignant potential. They can turn into melanomas.
Danielle still faces a lifetime of medical treatment, but all is not lost.
I think she's got a bright future.
Miss Sibbins is now organising a national gathering for sufferers and their families to be held in Adelaide next year. Emily Rice, 10 News.
They're planning an information campaign to overcome ignorance about the disfiguring skin disorder.
Ella Gibson is 5 and one of about 50 children Australia-wide suffering from a rare skin condition called giant melanocytic nevus. The life-threatening disease shows up in the form of hairy birthmarks or moles, ranging from the very small to the very large.
I think it's really important that you know that it can be treated, it's treatable. We can support each other, your feelings, your emotions that you go through when you have a child that looks a little bit different from everybody else.
Treatment ranges from skin grafts to dermabrasion, but are most effective on the very young. Until now, sufferers have had little information or mutual support. The group has launched a pamphlet to be distributed in hospitals and doctors' surgeries. Organiser Michelle Sibbins says when her 2-year-old daughter Danielle was born, one of her biggest issues was isolation.
She was in hospital for a month after she was born with her surgeries, and I remember sitting there feeling like we were the only ones, and I just don't want another mother to ever feel like that.
Mrs Sibbins says the gathering was also important for other members of the families affected by nevus.
Teasing is absolutely an issue, and for the siblings it's quite important because they can be together with a group of children and not once today do they have to answer what happened to your sister, what's that on her face.
The group will also meet with Australia's leading dermatology specialists at the Women's and Children's Hospital at a conference on Monday. Sharon Smith, ABC News, Adelaide.
Danielle was born, I thought she was the only child in the world ever born. And then nobody told me terribly much. So one of the main reasons for getting this brochure is we can get into hospitals, we can get into plastic surgeons, into dermatologists, so that they can hand that to new families. And hopefully they'll be able to get in touch with one of us that's nearby then really quickly have someone to talk to so that they're not quite as worried as we are. Getting this brochure together. I would like to give my sincerest Tracy, can you please come up and do it?
Come on, Tracy.
I have seen pain resting on the shoulders of your name. Do you see the truth through all their lies? Do you see the world through troubled eyes? And if you want to talk about it anymore, lie here on the floor, cry on my shoulder. I'm a friend. I have seen, but I have seen death. Live to see a lover's final breath. Do you see my guilt? Should I feel fright? Is the fire of hesitation burning bright? And if you want to talk about it once again, on you I depend. I'll cry on your shoulder. You're a friend. You and I have lived through many things. I'll hold on to your heart. I wouldn't cry for anything, but don't go tearing your life apart. I have seen fear, I have seen faith, seen the look of anger on your face. And if you want to talk about what will be, come and sit with me and cry on my shoulder. I'm a friend. And if you want to talk about it anymore, lie here on the floor, cry let's go back to the start. Running in circles, coming in tails, heads on the sides apart. Nobody said it was easy. It's such a shame for us to part. Nobody said it was easy. No one ever said it would be this hard. Oh, take me back to the start. I was just guessing at numbers and figures, pulling your puzzles apart. Questions of science, science and progress did not speak as loud as my heart. Tell me you love me, come back and haunt me. Oh, when I rush to the start, running in circles, chasing tails, coming back as we are. Nobody said it was easy. Oh, it's such a shame for us to part. Nobody said it was easy. No one ever said it would be so hard. I'm going back to the start.
Freckles and moles. For a rare few, those blemishes are life-altering because of their size and number. This week in North Texas, there is a one-of-a-kind gathering for people with this unusual condition. A cool swim on a hot day. Ordinary fun for most kids at camp, but these youngsters are swimming in long sleeves and hats for a reason. They all share a rare skin condition called Nevus, though 4-year-old Danielle calls it something nicer.
Pretty spots.
Those pretty spots are actually moles, some quite large that cover the entire body. For years, Megan Fields thought she was alone.
Because as far as I knew until I was 21, I was the only one who had it.
So that would have been very comforting to me, because I would say a lot of my emotional issues during middle school and high school stemmed from feeling like no one understood me and what came with Nevus.
That's why the Nevus Outreach has organized this gathering in Southlake.
Let me see that face. Oh, that's a beautiful face.
Michelle Sibbins brought her daughter all the way from Australia. There's so little research on this random condition that affects 1 in 200,000 worldwide. These are the only people who can answer her questions.
If we notice something happening, you know, you can get on there and say, is it normal that these spots keep appearing? And then you'll get answers back saying, well, yes, you know, they'll appear for a long time.
Cameron Ingram knows his spots keep coming, and they make him more vulnerable to deadly skin cancers and teasing.
But some kids just go, ooh, what's that? That's when it really bothers me.
So what he likes most about Nevus Camp is the message it sends to other kids.
We're all the same. We just have different skin.
Absolutely right. More on this condition on our website, WFAA.com/health.